So wait a minute. You're telling me that Jacob Markstrom was playing through injury the entire time and may have very well been the contributing factor to why he was so terrible this year? Fitzy gonna Fitzy. Oh, man.
You're Locked On Devils, your daily podcast on the New Jersey Devils,
part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
This is Locked On Devils, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network in the world. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get 250 smackaroos and bonus bets if your first bet wins. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. My name is Zach Berman, and speaking of Jacob Markstrom, where am I tonight? Calgary. Do they take refunds on 35-year-old goalies? I don't think so. But a lot to talk about today involving, the Devils roster. They've made some call-ups. They have shut down Jacob Markstrom for the year, and I just want to talk about how ridiculous it is that he was playing hurt and, playing in back-to-backs, both halves of back-to-backs, while probably hurt. And we're going to talk more about the GM search because it seems like, and I've been told things. Sometimes I'm right. Sometimes those things I'm told are not right, but I think I've been told enough to the point where I feel pretty comfortable saying what I'm about to say. And we'll start there. No need to play coy. The New Jersey Devils desperately want Sunny Mehta. Desperately. Is it Sunny Mehta? Sunny. It's always Sunny in Newark, New Jersey. I'm going to call him Sunny. If it is Sunny, then I will switch it back because I was calling him Sunny all last episode, and then I was listening to 32 Thoughts, and Elliot Friedman was calling him Sunny, so I'm just going to go off of what Mr. Friedman says. Sunny Mehta. Okay. The New Jersey Devils desperately want Sunny Mehta. Desperately. They are not the only team vying for Sunny Mehta because the Maple Leafs are very, very interested in getting Sunny Mehta on board as their next potential general manager. And this is a David Blitzer thing more than anything else because David Blitzer and Bob Myers are running the search here. Not Brodeur, as some people might have speculated. Brodeur is going to have he'll have a voice, but I'm not so sure, if he wants Jamie Langenbrunner, and I'm not saying that Jamie Langenbrunner is necessarily a terrible hire. Some people are making it out like they're hiring another Tom Fitzgerald. No, that is not Jamie Langenbrunner. He's actually done quite a good job. Player development in Boston. Yes, he's a name that is quite familiar to us in New Jersey. Part of the 2003 Stanley Cup winning team. Did leave on a sour note. The whole Jacques Lemaire thing, and then he ended up just demanding a trade in 2010, 2011. No, that was a bad season. But Langenbrunner is in the running. I was told he was a dark horse a few days ago, but he's not the top choice. Tyler Dellow is a really good hire, potentially, and I think he would be the fallback if Sunny Mehta decides to go with the Maple Leafs job. My gut, and this is just the way I think things are going to go down, and this is based off of nothing other than my gut. I think Tyler Dellow is the next New Jersey Devils GM. The assistant general manager of the Carolina Hurricanes, a former member of the New Jersey Devils front office. I have a weird hunch. And I think he would be a great hire. If Dellow is the hire and Mehta isn't, that's still an A+ hire. But I think my top choice would be Sunny Mehta. Like, my top choice. Like, yeah, I want the guy that was part of those back-to-back Stanley Cup winning teams. I want his analytical genius as part of my organization again. And I think the New Jersey Devils desperately feel the same way. David Blitzer fired Tom Fitzgerald because he came in second too many times. Came in second for Johnny Gaudreau, came in second for Jonathan Marchessault, came in second for Steven Stamkos, all three of those in free agency. Came in second for Dylan Cousins and Quinn Hughes via the trade market. Came in second for Kevin Fiala, if you remember that. If you fire a guy, and rightfully fire a guy because you came in second too many times, I think you need to come in first for his replacement. I don't care what it takes financially. You want to start a new era of New Jersey Devils hockey on the best foot possible? Land your guy, like whatever it takes. How much money does Harris Blitzer Sports and Entertainment have? How much money does Josh Harris have? He's worth $12 billion. $20 million a year. And it might take that to get your guy at general manager. That's fun coupons, as Jordan Belfort says in The Wolf of Wall Street. Like, Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment, they're going to spend a lot of money. They have a lot of money. But the counterpoint to that is Mehta grew up in New Jersey, grew up a Devils fan, worked with the Devils, and maybe he wants to come home. Now, I'm going to pump the brakes there for a second because Nick Kyprios reported earlier today that Sunny Mehta's time with the New Jersey Devils didn't necessarily end well, whatever that means. Or perhaps he didn't enjoy his time in New Jersey, whatever it is. And keep in mind, Mehta was with the Devils from 2014 to 2018. So that means he was with the Devils under Lou Lamoriello for a little bit, then Ray Shero, who also brought Tom Fitzgerald into the organization. So, like, where did my mind immediately go? It went, crap. What if he didn't like working with Fitzy, and Fitzy is the reason that we can't secure our top choice for his replacement? Wouldn't that be like the most Devils thing ever? Like, that's just me being a little bit of a doomer, but like, I'm simultaneously hopeful about this GM search, and also, given how some of Harris Blitzer's GM searches have gone in the past, I'm not so hopeful. Like, I'm not panicking by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm a little bit worried that you remember what happened with this isn't a GM search, but Ben Johnson was a little bit thrown off by the basketball guys in his football interview. Between Daryl Morey, between Jerry Colangelo, Adam Peters has been fine. Jaden Daniels looks awesome when he's healthy. And between Tom Fitzgerald, it's like I have a lot of hesitation when it comes to these people getting a search right. But at the same time, the New Jersey Devils are as desirable a job as they've ever been. You have a superstar in Jack Hughes who you can build around. We can get into the Nico Hischier stuff until we're blue in the face, but I did yesterday, and frankly, that is all speculation until we find out who the new GM is, who the new president of hockey ops is, and that is a May to June discussion. I've been told that this search is going to wrap up by the draft lottery, which is May 5th. Problem is, May 5th is a long time away. So, nobody that is hiring a GM right now has made a hire yet. So, I think the timing is still not necessarily bad. And I don't think the Devils are in a rush. I think they have the right mindset when it comes to getting the best person in place. I just don't know if HBSE is capable of landing the big fish or their top guy, because that's just been the way their ownership portfolio has gone. But you know what? Maybe they can turn over a new leaf, and maybe this time will be different. I know that's like the hallmark of like the most delusional thing any sports fan ever could think. Maybe this time will be different. Just maybe, but just maybe this time will be different. Speaking of the previous general manager, Tom Fitzgerald, are you telling me that he forced Jacob Markstrom to play hurt like the entire time or play through something? Because it kind of feels that way. We don't know for sure. But combining his play with the fact that he is now being shut down for injuries, several lingering injuries, as Sheldon Keefe called it, I'm suspicious. And we'll talk about that more on the other side of the break. Next on Locked On Devils. And today's episode is brought to you by the lovely folks over at Quo. Spring is a natural reset point, and if there's one thing that can quietly cost businesses money, it's messy communication. Missed calls, scattered text, no clear thread of who said what. That's why today's episode is brought to you by Quo, spelled Q-U-O, the smarter way to run your business communications. Quo is the #1 rated business phone system on G2 with over 3,000 reviews, trusted by more than 90,000 businesses. It lets your entire team share one business number so you never miss a call, text, or opportunity. The part that I love, everything lives in one clean thread. Calls, texts, voicemails. The whole team sees the conversation so nothing falls through the cracks, and the AI summaries save serious time by locking calls and highlighting the next steps automatically. It just makes your businesses feel more organized and responsive. Make this season no opportunity and no customer slips away. Try Quo free and get 20% off your first 6 months at quo.com/lockedonnhl. That is QUO.com/lockedonnhl. Quo. No missed calls, no missed customers. The New Jersey Devils are searching for a new general manager. They have a candidate or a position they absolutely need to fill, and maybe they'll go to Indeed to find their next general manager. Workplace chaos, deadlines stacking up, inbox overflowing, and the one position you have to fill still sitting open. When the pressure's on and you need the right hire, this is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Indeed Sponsored Jobs helps you reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for: skills, experience, location. So you're not just hoping that the right candidate stumbles upon your post. And here's a stat that says it all. In the minute I've been talking to you, companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time interviewing candidates who check all of your boxes with Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Less stress, less time, more results. When you need the right person to cut through the chaos, this is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help you get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying that you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. This next segment is presented by the Everydayer Club. Don't forget to check out the Everydayer Club for ad-free episodes and access to a group chat with me and other listeners of this show. Tap the link. It's in the show notes. All right, so today, Nico Daws was finally called up after the entire fan base begging for him to be called up in replacement of Jacob Markstrom for the longest time. So we will get to see just a little bit of Nico Daws before the season ends. And why? Why was Nico Daws called up? Well, he's starting in the home finale on Sunday against Ottawa. Head coach Sheldon Keefe says that Jacob Markstrom will miss the remainder of the regular season to rest and rehab nagging injuries. The rest of the season is like until Tuesday. What? Now, the good news is that Nico Daws will start on Sunday against Ottawa. Jake Allen will start tomorrow or today if you're watching this in Detroit. And Topias Villain will make his NHL debut on Sunday and play again in Boston for the season finale Tuesday. Man, I think it's crazy that Jacob Markstrom started like 2 back-to-backs in like 8 games straight in the month of March when the team was out of the playoffs. And I'm just baffled. Nagging injuries? And this is what Sheldon Keefe said. We decided, given the circumstances, we would shut him down for the season. At the same time, it gives Daws an opportunity, but most importantly, Markstrom gets the chance to go into the offseason without doing further damage. How hurt was this guy? I mean, look, Jacob Markstrom, and I get it, he's on the older side. Somewhere in there is still, I would like to believe, a half-decent goalie. Because you look at his save percentages over the years. This is by far and away the worst season of his career since what? 2014, 2015 with Vancouver? Like, I firmly believe, and this is coming from now that we know what we know. First of all, especially under Tom Fitzgerald, the New Jersey Devils have been weird with goalie injuries before and making goalies play through things that they probably shouldn't be playing through. Cough, cough, Mackenzie Blackwood. Now that we know what we know, this seems like Fitzgerald extended him to this contract and basically was like, we're going to make this work come hell or high water because we need to justify you getting paid this much. So naturally, that means when a guy looks completely just out of it, let's start him 43 times for an .883 save percentage. By far and away, the worst he's ever been as a starting NHL goalie. Like, this is heinous. And I talked about it yesterday, how Fitzgerald was just not good with handling injuries whatsoever, but this feels like a whole new chapter of, oh my God, what the hell are we doing? And you know what the funniest outcome to all of this would be? Next year under a new front office, because the Devils can't dump Jacob Markstrom. I mean, new GM's probably going to try to, but I don't know if he can. They're going to try and dump him next summer or this coming summer. They probably won't be able to. The funniest outcome is if they bring him back as the starting goalie next year and a rested, healthy Jacob Markstrom is awesome. Because an awesome goalie at $6 million per year is not a bad deal. A mediocre goalie at $6 million per year is still passable. If you have an .883 save percentage, that's egregious. But what if, and this is just, maybe it's a little bit of hopium, but I'm just spitballing. What if Jacob Markstrom is like healthy and awesome next year? How funny would that be? He existed just to get Tom Fitzgerald fired this year, and then with a new GM, he just turns back the clock. He has been inconsistent over the course of his entire career, and this has been the longest stretch of bad we've seen since he became a starting goalie. So what if, and then again, you're talking about a guy that is one of the older starting goalies in the National Hockey League, 36 years old. What if this guy just turns the clock back? There's a chance he doesn't. And there's a chance that this time next year we're still going, Fitzy, why the hell would you do that? But we're probably going to be doing that regardless. But what if he's good again? How cool would that be? And Markstrom seems like a good dude. So, like, as much as I've ragged on him, and I've ragged on him a lot this year, now that Fitzgerald's gone, like, screw it. I'm rooting for him to turn the clock back and become the version of Jacob Markstrom that Tom Fitzgerald thought he was getting, because that would be hysterical. You know what else would be hysterical? If the Detroit Red Wings keep Steve Yzerman around after missing the playoffs for a 10th consecutive year. Looks like they're going to do that regardless of tomorrow's outcome. But there is a hockey game tomorrow. There is still more hockey for the New Jersey Devils to play this year. Yay! And we're going to break down tomorrow's contest against the Detroit Red Wings in Detroit at Little Caesars Arena next on Locked On Devils. Jacob Markstrom might be done for the year, so it might be a little bit more risky to bet the Devils giving up the over every single time, but guess what? The NBA playoffs are here, where every possession matters, every matchup is magnified, and every game can swing a series. And right now, FanDuel is giving new customers a great way to get in on the action. You can bet just $5 and get $250 in bonus bets if your first bet hits. The app makes it easy to follow the action with player stats, trends, and matchups all in one place. And during the playoffs, that extra insight really matters when you're looking at stars, role players, and key moments. It just makes the entire playoff experience more engaging from start to finish. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. FanDuel, play your game. Well, we only have 3 more of these to do this year. Devils, Red Wings at the house that, I don't know, Kate Cunningham built. 7 p.m. or 5 p.m. Eastern at Little Caesars Arena. 2 teams with like pretty identical records. Detroit is 41-29-9. New Jersey 40-36-3. The Red Wings are 3 points out of the last wild card spot and completely out of the Atlantic, with Buffalo, Montreal, and Tampa all locking up those 3 spots. Carolina has clinched home ice, I believe. Carolina's clinched the division. They haven't clinched home ice the entire Eastern Conference. Buffalo is just 2 points behind them. Pittsburgh is clinched, and then the last wild card spot, Boston seems to have just enough of a leg up where they're not a lock, but they're pretty close to a lock. And yeah, Ottawa, who the Devils will see Sunday, that's a big game for them. 2 points back of Boston. Detroit, the Islanders, 3 points back of Ottawa at 91. Bad time for Detroit to go into a tailspin, right? They were looking like a shoo-in to finally get back into the playoffs, and the bottom falls out. Like, it is so crazy to me how much the job that Steve Yzerman has done in Buffalo, or not in Buffalo, in Detroit, why am I saying Buffalo, is reminiscent of what Tom Fitzgerald did to keep the Devils from getting to the next level. Because when you look at Detroit's roster, they have a couple high-end guys, Dylan Larkin, who I would really like to see potentially in a Devils uniform this summer. In terms of their forward core, Dylan Larkin, Lucas Raymond, Alex DeBrincat. And then after that, it drops off. Like Andrew Kopp is their second line center. Like their bottom six sucks, for the record. JT Compher is 26 points in 79 games. He's a -10. Mason Appleton, I know the Devils were potentially sniffing around on him. Only 14 points in 65 games. He's a -4. Like, this is a mess. Marco Kasper is a -20. JVR is a -15. Like, this is not good. Outside of those three guys, and I guess you could throw Patrick Kane in, who's got 56 points, 16 goals, 40 assists. It's pretty bleak. Defensively, Mo Sider's having a great year, +21. But you traded a first for Ben Sherratt? For Justin Falk, you extended Ben Sherratt? Simon Edvinsson looks like could be something. Axel Sandin-Pellikka's a -21. John Gibson looked decent for a while, but he's fallen on hard times. Red Wings fans, like Devils fans were up until recently, they have flaming pitchforks and torches, and they want change. And I don't blame them. You're an original six franchise, and you've missed the playoffs. I think now it's going to be 10 consecutive years. That's unacceptable. But it just goes to show, and I've made this point so many times over the course of the season, just because the Devils, had a dumb GM doesn't mean they're the only team in the league with a dumb GM. And I think it's a little bit shocking that Yzerman has been as bad as he is, considering that he was seen as the author of Tampa Bay's success, when in reality it seems like Julien Brisebois has been behind all of that. Will Detroit fire Yzerman? I don't know. But the last point I want to make, and who cares who wins tomorrow? I'd prefer the Devils to lose just because, maybe you can crack the top 9 in draft position, and if the lottery balls fall in your favor, who knows? I know for a fact, and I touched on it a little bit earlier, that Marty Brodeur has some semblance of say in what this GM search could look like. He doesn't have final say, but Brodeur has been responsible for Dave Rogalski being an immovable force in this organization. Brodeur was the driving force behind Jacob Markstrom being the goalie target for the New Jersey Devils. It wouldn't surprise me if Brodeur forced the extension through. Brodeur was a crucial part of all of this. And it seems pretty obvious that Marty Brodeur, and we all love Marty Brodeur, one of, if not the greatest goalies in NHL history, the greatest Devil of all time, man with a literal statue in front of the Prudential Center. This guy is the face of the franchise. He's a legend. He's an icon. And yet, seeing what is happening in Detroit with Steve Yzerman, who for those fans is a legend. I just hate when teams go out and bring in these franchise icons as general managers, because it makes them utterly impenetrable. It's been obvious for a while that Yzerman has no idea what the hell he's doing in Detroit and has needed to be fired for a while. And because he's a franchise icon, he's not getting fired anytime soon. Do you know how much it would pain me to be calling for Marty Brodeur to be fired? He frankly should be nowhere near hockey ops. But I don't want to be fire Marty Brodeur. I love Marty Brodeur. I think the whole fan base adores him. And yeah, absolutely. He's, like I said, he's one of the greats, if not the greatest goalie in the history of the NHL. But I can't stand when just legendary players get put in these positions because it just makes them Teflon. And seeing the way that Yzerman has been handled in Detroit just has me really worried about what Brodeur's presence in the front office is and what he is signing off on, how much power he has, and whether he should be in hockey ops to begin with, because I don't think he should be. That I am all very worried about, but I mean, I have been reassured that it seems like I say it seems like it is David Blitzer and Bob Myers' call to figure out who the next GM of this team is. So, or president of hockey ops, or both. So at the end of the day, I feel like it's you either leave the organization a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. It's going to be the same show tomorrow. We'll recap one game, preview the next, and I'm sure there will be more nuggets that come out about what this search is going to look like for the Devils. And one more thing that I completely forgot to mention. I love that, in a sense, that we're competing with the Maple Leafs, because everything and anything that goes on in this search, if Sunny Mehta breathes, somebody in the world of hockey journalism will report it because it concerns the Maple Leafs. So because the Devils are competing with the Leafs for this particular GM, I think we're going to know a lot more about this search than we typically would. And I'll leave it at that. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. Make sure you follow, like, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at Zach Brett Berman. If you never miss an episode, the Everydayer Club is built for you. Get Locked On Devils ad-free, plus members only Discord access and more. And for those of you on video, we send you to the first ever 24/7 National Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel. On audio, make sure your second listen is NHL Game Night on Locked On NHL. Thanks for stopping by. Let's go Devils. Hire Sunny Mehta, or Tyler Dellow. Or maybe Jamie Langenbrunner. I don't know. We'll figure it out at some point.